Hey, welcome to this video. What we'll be doing today, we'll be looking at real-life application of large language models. So basically that's your ChatGPT and all these for use with translation tasks. So as to use them in a smarter way than just, pure machine translation. So basically what we'll be doing is use it as an empty but with specific glossary, and also use it as an empty but with specific style. And we'll be doing that with a free large language model that you can use, which is Bing Chat. Okay, that's using a version of ChatGPT. So let's get into it. Okay, so here is an example. Okay, we have here a page and it's got some funny writing style. Okay, and so I'm going to be using that page as context. Okay, it's going to be talking about fairy tales and all that. And what I want to do is to translate some very complicated text that is in French, and I want to have that translated. So that's basically something very technical, and I want Bing Chat to translate it in the style of the page. Okay, so to give you an idea of the complicated text I'm asking it to translate, so this here is what it is. Okay, so that's something that was on Google that I was able to find. And so what I did was I used a different empty to translate it into French. Okay, and now I'm going to ask ChatGPT to translate this French text and keep on with the style of that page. So how did I do that? So I told him the prompt, okay, translate this French text into English using a writing style similar to this web page. And directly after that, you get your French text. So what you need to do next is look at the prompt to see if Bing understood it correctly. So here's a translation of the French text into English using a writing style similar to the current web page context. And here we go. Hey there, computer whizzies. Want to know how to execute some steps on your computer? Well, listen up. First, you'll need to perform a molecular dynamic calculation with water molecules and so on and so forth. And it ends up with easy peasy, right? So that sounds a bit like that page. So that's quite funny. So that was just a funny example. But the idea of that is if you are translating, you can say export what you've already translated in your target language into PDF, and you can use that as context. And so then if you open the PDF page in Edge, well, then you can use that as a style reference for your translation. Now, of course, you don't want to do that if your text has sensitive information. Just don't. Okay, so but if you have sensitive information, just keep that on your computer. But that's an example of what you can do. And another way this can be used is if you want to use specific terminology. Okay, so here we are. In front of me, I have a glossary from English to French with very little entries. What I did was I made that in Excel and then exported that to PDF. And once you have that as a PDF, you can do a right click on it and open it in Microsoft Edge. And that's how you will be able then to leverage Bing Chat capabilities. So here I have my glossary. So let's click on the Bing icon, the Bing Chat icon, and now I'm going to ask it to consider this glossary. Okay, so here's the prompt. Use this glossary and acronyms for translation English to French. And now I'm going to look at Bing answer to see if it works. Okay, so now I'm going to ask it to translate. Okay, translate from English to French using this glossary and acronyms. And just a word about the small text I'm going to send it. It has to do with what translators do and what they use. And so here's the text. It's specific to the world of translation. So here we go. I paste it and I just send it, and we'll see what comes out of it. Okay, so that's good. So purchase order, it used bon de commande BC, which is exactly what I asked it. Translation memory, mémoire de traduction MT, which is exactly what I asked it. And project manager PM, chef de projet CP, which is exactly what I asked it to do. So make sure if you have acronyms in your glossary that you add the prompt telling it to consider the acronyms as well. So that's quite good. Now let's jump onto a different example. So here we go with the second example. So now, same thing, I want to apply a glossary to translating some text. And if you look, I've used the same source acronyms as we did for the previous text. And the text I'll be using is this very complicated text that I translated in a funny way from French to English at the beginning of this video. And now I'm using the same text, but in English. And the goal will be to translate it into French. So what I did was I did some tests and I had to tune a little bit the prompt to make sure the acronyms were used properly. So here is the prompt I gave. Translate this text using the glossary from that page and use the acronyms translations. Okay, and now after that, after the colon, I paste the text to be translated. And here is Bing's response. Sure is the translation using the glossary from the current web page context. So the glossary is the PDF here, open in Edge. And if we look at the translation, présence de molécules d'eau, OP. Okay, so that's good. It's been used. It's PO instead. Instead of PO, we have OP, and we have the correct translation from the glossary. Target molecule cible MC, okay, instead of TM, so that's good. And probe molecules, molecule sound, and we kept PM, and it did that. So it worked correctly. So these are just a few examples that you can use. So if your goal is to use MT with a specific context, a specific style, or a specific glossary for some specific segments, so you can use that to help you. And of course, if you're using a CAT tool and you want to use your glossary will pop up as you're translating and all that. But if you want to use, to leverage these kind of tools, large language models, that's something you can do that a regular MT doesn't do, or does only at great expense. And of course, if you have a subscription to ChatGPT, for example, you will get better quality and better context. So for example, if you have a paid subscription and you're using GPT-4, you will be able to upload like a 10,000 entries glossary, and that will help you with translation, okay? And as I always say, if you're using these things, make sure that for text that isn't super sensitive, okay? Because that's whatever you're putting in there, it goes on the web and it stays there, and it's used for further training, further context and all that. But that's it for this video. I hope you found it interesting. So if you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, because that helps a lot with this channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.